find it weird how a lot of women, and I understand why they do it, but it's just kind of funny how they post the pictures of themselves on the internet. Especially, like, a lot of women are being more provocative on the internet. Anyway, like, women on the internet are being more provocative. With what they post. And I think it's weird that these guys, that they would find creepy as hell in reality, they are really cool with the validation they get on the internet. And you can, and if they go through the comments, they can, like, see what guys are posting. But I think it's just because they want, they like the validation. They like the notification that pops up. They like when they open up their phone, they have, I don't know, 25 notifications from whatever social media they're on, or 1,000, whatever, how popular they are. But if you look at the comments and you start looking through, like, the dudes that are posting stuff, the ones that keep saying, "Hey, beautiful," or, like, kissing their ass, are these dudes that would never have a chance at all. And a lot of them are older. And, you know, I can't say nothing like I'm not the best looking guy or nothing like that. But these dudes are like, they look like they're dusty. They haven't even taken care of themselves at all. It's one thing to be an older man and take care of yourself, and then possibly, like, whatever. But, like, if you don't take care of you haven't been taking care of yourself, and you think that you're gonna pull a hot young 25-year-old by giving them a comment like, "Hey, beautiful," it amazes me that these dudes continue to do this in 2023. You know, I said I was a simp before. You know, I was oblivious to what was happening. And around 2015, I started waking up to, like, I started thinking, you know, I say a compliment to this girl. She's not really responding on, like, a picture or a selfie. So she's doing this for validation. And I started thinking back then it was for, like, a guy she liked, you know. And probably it was back then for a guy she liked. Now it's pretty much just for validation overall. But I stopped doing all that. And it just amazes me what almost in 2023, next year will be 2023, and you still have like men that are dumb as fuck that have been living underneath a rock. They remind me of these women that are like, "Where's all the good guys? Why don't guys want me to pay a half? Or why do guys only want to take me for a coffee when we meet, or like a drink?" And they don't understand that a lot of guys have been used for meals. I don't understand how you can be on the internet and be completely and don't know anything what's happening in the dating scene. So I think that when people post this, like, especially with women, like, "Where's all the good guys?" I think they're just saying that for attention, because you can't really be that dumb. Maybe they are that ignorant to understand and see the point of view of, like, "Oh, okay, I understand. Like, this is happening a lot." And you know what? Honestly, I'm a stranger. Like, it's not like we met in person. It's not like the old days when you knew somebody in person and got a feel for them in person, we are literally strangers. And that's why I won't meet you out at a park by myself, because I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel safe. You know what? And you know what? Since these guys, when I scroll through and I see these girls like showing off their asses, it pops up on my feed. You know, I get annoyed, or I can just tell that they are like thirsty for attention. They're so thirsty. I mean, you obviously put stuff out for attention, but like the only thing that you provide is sexuality. That's the only thing you provide. Well, it's like all your content is your body, like your sexuality or whatever. It's just annoying as hell. And I hope that I'm rooting for them to take these simps, take all their money, man. Because I hate these fucking simps. These simps are the reason why a lot of women's egos are the way they are. The internet's great, okay? The internet is fantastic, but it's bad too. I'll try to get this point out real quick. I find it curious that there's women that go on the internet calling dudes average and whatever when they're covered in makeup and they got their hair done. Like they always look like that. They wouldn't dare go out or on the internet without having makeup on or having a filter on. Because if they did, they would look average too. It just amazes me. It amazes me. It's like me wearing some type of mask. What if I was just to wear like a realistic Brad Pitt mask and I look like Brad Pitt? And I'm calling like calling out women saying that they're average. They ain't shit. Or whatever. You know, I'm wearing a fucking mask. It's not even me. Like they're just enhancing. Like I've seen makeup tutorials where these women don't look anything like they could be a 1 or 2 in the face and they end up looking like a 10 because the way they enhance themselves and manipulate different things. Like women, they have underarm hair. They have hair on their legs. They have to get rid of that stuff. They have to shave that stuff. They're not as hairy as men or nothing, but that's not natural. Like if these women didn't do anything, right? Like men, we're pretty much natural as hell. Like most men are natural. We are not out here wearing makeup, enhancing our looks. Could you imagine if that became socially acceptable? And it might become socially acceptable. And for the makeup companies, it's probably a good idea for them to have men start wearing makeup. You see it in the gay community. They do that shit. It's not normal for heterosexual men to do it, but could you imagine if heterosexual men started doing that? I remember I manipulated one of my pictures when I was on the internet, and all I did was I just brushed it up a little bit, and I looked a lot better. That's what they do, man. That's what they do. I only did that once because I wanted to just play around with it. But yeah, it's amazing, like how people can just come out here and they're regular people and they can just like talk down and like they're better than other people when they're really the same. Then they have to use enhancements to make themselves look better and feel better too, because they're so insecure. Like if you're walking around with makeup all the time, man, you're like highly insecure. With like the internet too, it's amazing. Like I think it's a great tool, but it has brought people together and it's divided us as well. It's like, you know, online dating is so normal now. It's so normal. I remember it being taboo when I was a kid. When I first started doing it, it was really taboo. Well, I had a lot of, I was scared to approach women when I was a kid. Really scared. But it was a lot easier than it is now. You know, you hear these guys say, approach these women. Well, okay, approaching women and getting rejected, it does thicken your skin. It does. But it's also a gigantic waste of fucking time. Like if you're a regular dude out here nowadays, and you're going up to like a really pretty girl, or she could be like a 7 or 8 woman, right? And she thinks she's a 10. She could even be a 6, and she thinks that she's an 8 or 9. Hell, these 4s think that they're 6s and 7s because of social media. And you're just like me. You're like a 3, right? Maybe you're even like less. Maybe you're like, you're not as appealing. Maybe you're like a 5'6" person. Maybe you're like a 5'4" dude, and and you're trying to approach women that are taller than you, or your same height, or even shorter. It's like a gigantic waste of time, because they won't take you serious. Not only are females, they don't get really their validation in person anymore. They get it all online, and they're used to it. And you can see them always on their phones, man. They're like glued to their phones. But since a lot of females are independent, right? They have like they mean mug you. They're not open. They're not open at all. They don't smile. They're not friendly. They don't look friendly. Why would I want to go up to somebody and they don't look like they're in a good mood today? You know, this is why I think a lot of females, besides them not being attracted to me, they don't come up to me at all, because, you know, I walk around with just a straight look on my face. I'm not over here just constantly smiling. But if you want somebody to come up to you, you gotta have like a demeanor, especially if you're a woman. Like it's more natural for men to go up and approach women and ask them out than the other way around. But since we're in this environment that we're in, with some guys, you know, like What guy wants to be called a creep just because we're interested in a woman and she's not interested in us and she calls us a creep or whatever? Could you imagine? You already got low self-esteem and you already feel low about yourself, and you gather up enough courage. And it takes a lot of courage. And you're not good with women, and you finally go up to one, and then like maybe her friends are recording it, and then they just post it on the internet, and you look like a fool, and it goes viral, and they're laughing at you. So like, I see videos of women saying, "Why do guys approach no more?" Like, what are you living under a rock? Do you live like where the simps are living, like under a rock, and you're completely unaware of everything? I think that the next, like I said, we're in the fourth turning, and I think that it's gonna get worse, but it will get better, because I think that generations, and it could be Generation Alpha, or Generation Alpha that comes up, and one of these generations are gonna be breaking the fucking cycle, man. They're gonna see what prior generations did and want better for themselves and for their kids. And they're gonna, I think that there's so much on the internet to learn. And since I think it could be Generation Alpha, or the generation after them, one of them, they're gonna see all that's happening. They're gonna see the deterioration of the family. They're gonna see all this, like kind of similar to what I've seen in my life. And I want it better for my kids. I want a better environment than I was raised in. Because I know the subconscious damage it caused me when I was younger. Part of the reason why I'm probably an introvert. Moving around constantly. I'm not as bad as when I was younger. Like maybe an introvert nowadays, it's more like just to protect myself. Like my skin is a lot thicker than when I was a kid. And people think I'm weird, but I'm just doing it on purpose. Especially at work, like dealing with women at work. I don't really talk to them at all. They have to come up and talk to me. But I think that the future generations are going to see what's going on. They've been through it. They don't like it. And they're going to have to go through some suffering to change the cycles in their families. Obviously, having kids is really expensive if you want to like keep up with the Joneses. And I think that they're gonna have kids in the future. There's like the birth rate has gone down like a lot, and I think that these kids coming up are gonna be like, some of them, of course, are gonna go down the wrong path. But I think a lot of the majority, I think maybe it's Gen Z or I don't know which one. They're just going to be tired of it, and they're going to have to, and their life is going to have to be hard. Because why is their life going to be hard? Because they're going to have to go against the grain of all the damage that they've endured in their life, and try to have some type of values. or they might just keep the cycle and just continue to degeneracy and continue the decay, the downward spiral. But there's not really much more you can really do that's taboo, that's being accepted, that's being forced to be accepted nowadays. It's like there's not really much more that's off limits. Like people are gonna start being like, well, I identify as a dead person, and then that's why I'm a necrophiliac. Could you imagine that? Does that shock me? Not one bit. Nothing shocks me anymore. Yeah, I mean, I think the over sexualizing themselves, like a lot of females are on OnlyFans, right? Why would I want to? Why would I want to? Why would I want to like go all out and be chivalrous and all this for a female that's already like put everything that's supposed to be special to me out for everybody to see for money? Like, and guys are territorial. And that's why guys like, I don't want my woman to walk out of here the way what she's wearing. It's not because it's a form of protection. And my opinion is, I put up boundaries. And like, for me, if I was to have a relationship and she wants to do a girls' night, like she's single, have at it. But me and we aren't going to be together no more. You go be single. You want to play like you're single, you go be single. You want to have a bunch of guy friends, have at it. But me and you aren't going to have a relationship. Maybe we could have a fun relationship, but it's not going to be nothing serious. I will be talking to other girls. I will be dating other girls. I'm not going to be loyal to you. I'm not going to be monogamous to you at all. Why should I? I'm not going to compete with the internet of men. I'm just not. And then they'll say, you're insecure. Like, that's the classic thing. Like, what do women resort to? You got small penis vibes. I got small penis vibes. Okay. My penis is half an inch long. Even if it was, who gives a fuck? Give a shit what you think. I don't give a fuck what you say. I prefer a woman that actually like respects herself. I prefer a woman that's not trying to show her body off to try to get attention from the opposite sex if she's my woman. It puts her in a bad position. If she wants somebody else, if she's trying to find somebody else, if she's putting herself out there, putting her body on a plate for another dude's eyes. This is why I respect the Muslim people so much, man. They put their women in check. They have boundaries for their women. You go do you. But don't expect me to take you serious. And this mentality I have, yes, I might be some 3 out here. Yeah, and maybe I'll go the rest of my life single because of this. But at least I have respect for myself. Before I did it, I didn't know any different. Now I do. It doesn't take much work for a woman to get laid. It doesn't take anything from them to get laid. It takes a lot of work for men to get laid. I just don't think that a lot of women, from what I see on the internet, really truly understand what men bring to the table. They really don't.